I'm reviewing here! Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of I'm Reviewing Here, a podcast where I, Matthew Bussey, watches and reviews all of Sight and Sound's top greatest movies of all time! Brr, brr, brr! Oh man, I just want to say this. I am your host, Matthew Bussey. It's cool to say that. You know, when you have a microphone, you have the power. And it feels really good. Yeah. I think I'm a narcissist, you guys. I'm sorry. I think I am. I need to be diagnosed, but it's expensive going to the doctor nowadays. Wow. What a day. It is freezing right now. I'm chitter-chattering right now. Is it chitter or chatter? Oh yeah, like my teeth are chattering. Chittering. Chitter-chatter. Shitter-shatter. I don't know. Yeah, it's freezing today, and it's been a weird week in terms of the weather. Ugh, and I know, talking about the weather, it's so boring, but, you know, life is boring as well. No, it's not. What am I saying? No, life is great. The weather this week was really crazy. It was like 73 degrees 2 days ago, and this is Philadelphia in February. It is winter. It should not be that hot. And you know what really ticks me off? When people on the street and people you meet are like, oh, I love it. It feels so good. I can go outside in shorts and a bikini and get a tan. I'm like, are you kidding me? No, it's not fun. This is scary. This is serious. The earth is getting hotter and hotter, and it's not good. People, read a book. God. If it is February and I see you tanning outside, if it's a hot day out when it should not be a hot day out, I am going to spray you with mace. No, I would not do that. Not mace. That's a little harsh. What's a harmless thing to spray people with? Shampoo. Yeah, shampoo. You know, someone did that to me one time when I was a kid. I was trick-or-treating. I think it was 2002. Halloween 2002. Yeah, I think it was that. I was trick-or-treating and I was a Miami Dolphin, like the football team. Why, you may ask? I have no idea. Why did my dad have a Miami Dolphin shirt? I have no flippin' idea. We don't even have relatives in Florida. But I don't know. I put on a jersey and I had this football mask on. I looked like Arnold from Hey Arnold, like legit looked like him. Anyway, we went to one house and it was a bunch of these crazy, annoying, obnoxious kids, and they all started berating me, like, why are you a dolphin and not an eagle? Screw you! And I was like, you know, pre-puberty, so I was like, I don't know, sorry, I just want my candy, give me my Reese's Pieces, please, goodbye. And I got the candy, and I was walking away, and out of nowhere, I heard this giggling, and then I heard something wet and creamy, get, squirted on the back of my jersey, and I turned around, like, what the? And two of these kids had sprayed me with shampoo, squirted shampoo on me, and ran off. Little shitheads. Are you kidding me? Oh my god. It was so annoying. I don't care. That was a costume. I mean, it was a shirt, but it was a costume. Jesus Christ. And it's just a football team, for crying out loud. You know, maybe my dad did that on purpose because I've never liked sports, and my dad adores sports, and he used to try to get me to do sports, and to this day. I did watch the Super Bowl. That was fun. We lost, didn't we? Yeah, we lost. That's what I remember, at least. Yeah. My dad used to make me sleep with footballs. That's actually a true story. He would be like, good night, son. I'd be like, okay, Dad, good night. I'm going to hug this little ball. He'd leave the room. Boink. I'd throw it off the bed. I am not sleeping with a football. Are you kidding me? Christ almighty. What would be a good ball to sleep with? Like a comfortable ball? Not a tennis ball, because they smell. I'm really crazy off topic. Anyway, well, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. This is coming out on a Friday, but this is not being recorded on a Friday. This is being recorded on a Saturday, so it actually is already the Sabbath right now, and I'm very sacrilegious. I'm going to make challah today, which you're not supposed to do on the Saturday of Shabbat. You're supposed to bake it the days before Shabbat and then eat it during Shabbat. But I ran out of time. It takes a while to make. Have you ever made challah bread? That's also how you're supposed to say it. Challah. It's not challah or challah. It's challah. Yeah, I'm a little sacrilegious. I wanted to make it today. I also I like to eat challah not just on the Sabbath. I like to eat my challah any day of the week. It's good. And of course I make it vegan. The secret ingredient, coconut oil. Coconut oil, coconut oil, coconut oil. Coconut. Coconut. I love that name. If I ever have a son or a daughter, I'm going to name them Coconut. Coco Bussy. No, just kidding. Yeah, the Sabbath though. Okay, and then I'm going to get into the movie. The Sabbath, if you don't know what it is, I can't get into it. Just Wikipedia it. It's a long story. But it's a day of rest. Yeah, Friday evening into Saturday evening. It's a day of rest. Now, if you're very observant, you call yourself Shomer Shabbos, which means you're devoutly observant to the Sabbath, which means you don't use electricity, you don't drive a car. I don't think you're allowed to write. I don't think you're allowed to also, boink. I think if you're married, you can boink your spouse, but if you're not married, you're not supposed to, and you're not supposed to pleasure yourself at all. But it's a really great day. I went to Israel in 2019, and I got to actually, really observe the Sabbath. Did not check my phone once, didn't do anything all day. And it was really nice. Beautiful day. Shomer Shabbos, that's also a fun word to say. I don't think I could be Shomer Shabbos, though. I matched with a girl on a dating app one time, and in her profile description, she said, "Hi, I'm SS," and I was like, "I beg your pardon, what?" And then I googled it, and it meant no, it doesn't mean Nazis. It means Shomer Shabbos, and it said she was Jewish too in her profile. So I was like, "Oh, okay." SS though, I don't know. I wouldn't really say that. I wouldn't say that. Wow, let's get to it. Today, my friends, I'm going to talk about a very, very poetic movie. It is called Earth. Take a listen. Dun, 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 dun. Fooled ya! There's no trailer for Earth. I looked and looked, and there's no trailer, and it doesn't even matter because it's a silent movie, so all you would hear would be beautiful, beautiful orchestral scores. Yeah, there's no trailer for this. Earth was a hard movie to track down. It's very, I don't even think it's on, available on the Criterion Collection or anything. I had never heard of Earth. Earth came out in 1930. It was written and directed by this man named Alexander Dovzhenko. It was made in the Soviet Union. Now, we're going to get to a lot more Soviet-made movies, like Battleship Potemkin and The Man with the Movie Camera, I think are also both Soviet movies. And I know this because in film school, when you major in film, you have to watch these movies a million times. I'm surprised we never watched Earth. So Earth, what did I think about Earth? I liked it. I'm still thinking about it. I liked it. Did I love it? Well, I think there's all kinds of love. There's all types. I don't know if I loved it, but I'm thinking about it. Let me start off by saying this. Look, two things. And this isn't really Earth's fault. Well, the second one kind of is, but the first one is not. Silent movies, I love them. They're very hard to watch from your home. It's not, the experience is not the same. You cannot watch a silent movie on your TV. You cannot watch it on your little computer screen. You cannot watch it on your iPhone. Oh, for God's sake, do not watch anything on your iPhone. The experience sucks. You can't do that, though. A silent film is very different, though. You need to be in a theater and experience it. You got to hear all the sounds coming out from everywhere. You got to hear the audience react, because that's what it was like back in the day when these movies came out. I mean, you have to really put yourself, let's, retroactively, let's think about this for a sec. I mean, imagine before TikTok and Twitter and social media and the Kardashians and everything, you go to the movies and it's customary that movies don't have dialogue. Imagine how incredible that must have been. I mean, it's yeah. So, I say that because you have to realize that when you try to watch an old silent movie on your TV, it's not the same. And that's why with Earth, I had a little bit of trouble because it's a really well-made movie. The editing is incredible in it. A lot of Soviet directors, their movies, I mean, the editing is top-notch. It's so well done. It's a very riveting movie, but I was confused. I did get very confused watching it. And again, that may have just been because I watched it late at night after a long work day and I'm watching it on a TV instead of a big theater screen. And I was good. Like, I did my best to like not leave the room to get a glass of water or, you know, check my phone quickly to see my emails. I was really good. And anyway, long story short, silent movies, yeah, you got to see them on the big screen. If a silent movie is ever playing in your area at like a local movie theater, go and see it. Pay and see it. Also, in general, go to the friggin' movies, people, okay? Go to the movies. I am so sick to death of people being like, oh, that movie's out. Nah, I'll wait in 2 weeks. It'll be on demand. No. If you tell me that, I'm going to smack your hand like a little, you know, whoosh, like that. That happened to me last year. There was this great movie that came out last year called Bros, starring Billy Eichner, and it was so good. And I texted a friend of mine and I said, "Oh my God, you got to see this movie. It's so beautiful and funny and romantic and incredible." And he said, "Great. When's it coming out?" And I said, "Oh, it comes out in theaters like." I got to see an advanced screening, and I said, "Oh no, it comes out in theaters like next week." And he said, "Oh no, I mean, when's it coming out like on, you know, on Amazon Prime so I can watch it from home?" And I like squeezed my phone so hard I almost broke it. My voice went demonic, and I was like, "How can you say that? How can you say that? Get out. Get off your ass and go to the movies. COVID is still here. It's going to be with us forever, but it's not 2020. It's not 2021 anymore, people. Go and experience movies again, okay?" Woof! I get so mad. What was I saying? Okay, that was one sort of semi-issue I had with watching Earth. It's hard to watch silent movies at home. Other issue with Earth. There is a lot of political context in this movie that they do not explain to you. When this movie opens up, there are no subtitles or anything that say, "Hi, enjoy this movie." Okay, so this takes place in the, you know, late 20s in Soviet Ukraine, and this is happening, and this is happening, and this. There's none of that. So that's what confused me a lot. Do I look? Well, you can't see me. Do I sound like someone who knows a lot about the Soviet Union and the history? No. Is Russia a part, and Ukraine and all the countries that used to be a part of the Soviet Union, are they in Europe? Oh my God, I forget. I took AP European history in high school, and did I listen? No. I took it to look good for it to look good on my resume, and then once I got into college, on the very last test I had to take, I cheated. Got an A. It didn't matter. I was going to college already. Yeah. But I still didn't, like, it didn't help my grade at all. I got like an 80.0 B minus grade like every quarter in that class. Yeah, it was a good class though. Teacher was awesome. Yeah, but there's a lot of context in Earth that I did not know about, and I had to do a lot of friggin' research about this movie. So this has, you know, all these years later, it's considered a real masterpiece. It really divided Soviet citizens, whatever you want to call them, when it came out, because it was a bit of an anti-propaganda movie. So this came out when... Oh, I gotta get my notes up. Yeah, here it is. This came out when Joseph Stalin, great guy. Pfft, Jesus Christ. Oh, Stalin. I hate reading about Stalin. He was coming into power in the Soviet Union. I don't even know if it was called that yet, so apologies if I'm getting any of this wrong. But he was coming into power, and, you know, Soviet propaganda movies, they were really big. They were the popular thing. I mean, there's propagandistic movies all the time, but they would make a lot of movies that were like, you know, these people are bad. It's the same way when those, you know, idiot Nazis, they would make incredibly anti-Semitic movies for German citizens. I know this because I had to watch them at Temple University. I took a class, The History of Horror Movies, and we had to watch one of them. Yeah, it was a horror movie. It was horrible. Horrifying. Anyway, here's what you need to know about Earth before you go in. So this is a movie set on a farm. It's about peasants. It's about these people that are known as kulaks, Kulak. And kulak is kind of, I read this is actually kind of like not a nice term, but it's a term for farm owners. So not like a peasant, but a farm owner. I hope I get that right. Yeah. And it was mean. It was kind of used to like demonize them. It actually literally means fist. So you need to know that. Now, the big thing in Earth is that Stalin wanted to begin collectivization of private farms. So what that means is basically all these incredible peasants and these farmers doing all this work out in the fields, getting all these fruits and all these grains and everything. Stalin basically said, that's great. I want you to give all of that over to me and the citizens, and you guys will basically starve and you won't get to make enough money, and we'll get all the money, and you guys will kind of like be our puppies, like be our slaves. Yeah, it's messed up, am I right? And this really happened. It angered a lot of peasants, but also, as you see in Earth, some of the kulaks or the owners were kind of like, yeah, maybe it'll work. Maybe it'll be okay. So that's the big thing to remember about Earth when you go in. Now, the story itself is very, very... it's not necessarily a beginning, middle, and end kind of movie. It's a bit of a non-linear narrative. I said at the beginning that it's a poetic movie. It is. It's very much a poetic movie. So Dovzhenko, the director, he really focuses a lot of shots on fruits and apples and pears and sunflowers and the fields and wheat and the wind blowing through the sunflowers. And I hope that sounded poetic enough. I cannot do poetry to save my life. Also, teachers that try to make their students do poetry should not be able to vote, okay? Poetry, do not make kids try poetry. Let them try it if they want to, but don't force them to. The amount of poems we had to forcibly write as kids in English class that were so bad, and they'd be like, whoa, this isn't good. It's like, yeah, because we're not creatives. Poetry is a whole other thing. God. Yeah, so anyway, back to the movie. Dovzhenko, yeah, he's really into that. That's a really crucial motif of the movie is nature, you know? Nature. Fertility. There are a lot of shots, too, of babies playing with all these fruits, these innocent-looking toddlers, on the grass playing with the fruit. So anyway, yeah, nature plays a big deal. When the movie starts off, there is a very old man, and his name, do not laugh, his name is Seaman. I forgot to check if in Russian or Ukrainian, if how you say it might be Semen, I forget. Oh, I should have asked my friend. I have a friend who's Russian, and she would know every one of these answers. Anyway, there's an old man, his name is Seaman, and he is, he's run out. Just kidding, I had to say that. No, he's not run out of liquid. Oh my god, Jesus Christ, Matt, shut up. Okay, no. Be serious for a sec. Seaman is dying, people. Okay, he's an old man, and he's dying. He's dying under an apple tree. And, he's surrounded by his family. He has a son named Opanas, and he has a grandson named Vasil. Now, Vasil plays a huge part in this movie, and he dies. It cuts to the next scene, and there are a whole bunch of women peasants wailing in pain and screaming, like, so over the top, like, I'm talking, like, hands to their heads, like, no, this is terrible, and you're like, what's happening? And you find out that, they've learned about Stalin's plans for collectivization, which is they don't like. So they're freaking out. They're really mad about it. Vasil, I think, on the other hand, it cuts to him, the next scene, he's talking with some other people, and they're talking about collectivization, and they're not necessarily vilifying it, they're not really saying this is such a bad, horrible thing that's going to happen, it's going to ruin us all. They're kind of just talking about it, and I think that's interesting. That's in history books, like, I always would avoid that. I would always, or not avoid it, but I would never really notice the fact that when these big controversial decisions were made in towns, not everybody was for it. I mean, when you learn about the Revolutionary War, there were loyalists. There were American loyalists who were like, "No, the British, they're cool. Yeah, they can hang out. We'll hang out with them. We'll drink some beer. They can control us. Who cares?" And that's kind of how that's crazy. That was the interesting thing about Earth. I expected a movie it to be about, this whole group of farmers, you know, rallying against collectivization. But anyway, it's not though. Vasile and these people are kind of, talking about it. Now, look, I got a little bit confused because Vasile, there's this really riveting sequence in the movie. It's so well done with the cross-cutting and the music and everything. Vasile brings a tractor to the farm, and everyone in town is elated. They are so happy. It's like they're on a roller coaster, and the music is like dun 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 dun. It's like so over the top. Everyone's crazy. They're so amazed at this, and this tractor is going through the fields. I don't know the terminology because I've never owned a farm, but yeah, that's what a tractor does. It just goes through the fields, right? That's the way that the grains get harvested, I think. Yeah, that's how it works. There's a really shocking sequence where it stops working, and then it cuts to a bunch of men urinating on the tractor, because I guess the urine, there's something in it that makes it work again. So it was kind of random, but it works again, and it's everyone's happy, and then again, there's this really well put together sequence where it shows you all of the peasants doing their job. They're making the bread. They're doing everything. They're picking up all the hay. They're tying the hay up with string, and it's a really, really remarkable sequence. I really, really, See, this movie, it stuck with me. Didn't really get it. When I was watching it, I did not get any of this. I especially did not get the next sequence, which I really kind of burst out laughing at. So it's been a long day, and Vasile, it's a really long shot. It's a long duration shot. Vasile is walking down this path, and he's walking, and the music's all nice, and then he starts to break out into dance. He twerks. No, he doesn't. He dances a hopak. And that is a real thing. A hopak is a very popular it's a form of Ukrainian folk dance. And he starts doing this, and then the camera's far away, and you see him, and then he just kind of collapses. And you're like, what was that about? Did he die? Did he get burned out? He was a pretty good dancer too. The hopak, I don't know how you say it. I need to Google, or I need to YouTube that, because I love it. I love folk dancing, from other countries. It's so good. Georgian dancing from the country Georgia. Oh my God. And Then We Dance. Amazing movie. Go check it out. It's about Georgian dancing. Anyway, so he dies, and the farmers are absolutely devastated, and Vasile's father is completely distraught. And he does, there's a priest in town. There's a Russian Orthodox priest who's like, okay, your son died. I want to lead this funeral for him. And Vasile's father is just so against it all. And he just goes, no, there's no God. Why did God take my son? This is terrible. And he kind of convinces all of the farmers in town too, all the peasants. He kind of convinces them all for his son to have a non-religious, secular funeral, and they all agree. And this is where the big budget of the movie really comes in, because Dovzhenko, he really got a lot of extras in this movie to do to be in the scene. It's an amazing shot where all these people, all these extras. The peasants, they're walking through town, and they're carrying Vasile in this, wake. And there's this great shot where they're walking him, and Vasile, they're going under a tree or something, and a branch kind of brushes against his head, and Vasile doesn't even flinch. He's a good actor. Vasile was played by this actor named Seaman Svashenko. That was his name. So they do that. There's mayhem, and then even more shocking, Vasile has a fiance. Her name is Natalia, and she is. It's like a scene from like a painting that you would like see at an art museum. She is heartbroken, more than heartbroken. She is butt ass naked in her room, like crying and screaming to the ceiling and hugging her body and like convulsing in a way. And that scene, actually, trivia, that scene, the Soviets wanted Dovzhenko to censor that scene, both that scene and the scene when the guys urinate on the radiator of the tractor. But I think he basically convinced them to keep it in, and obviously to this day, it's still in the movie. But it's very over the top, but it's very it adds to the whole poetic kind of artistic aspect of this movie. So anyway, she is naked and mourning and screaming. That his father is freaking out. Everybody is just so sad. And again, Dovzhenko, he keeps cross-cutting all these scenes with nature, and grains and the flowers and the fruits, and it's so much of that. And then all of a sudden, there's a guy named Koma, who is another farmer, and he. I have to laugh. It's kind of a funny shot. They're having Vasile, they're having his funeral, and then Koma out of nowhere is running like crazy, like no, stop! And then they can't hear him, and he's running, and he starts yelling, "No, I killed Vasile! And then he says, I'm against collectivization. I'm against it. I'm with you guys. I think I may be mistaken. I think Koma was for collectivization, and that's why he killed Vasile. But now he's, feeling all this remorse, and he's running, and the villagers kind of ignore him. And then the movie ends on this really long shot of, I think it's sunflowers, and it's windy, and the sunflowers are just, they're brushing against each other, and it's that's happening. And then the movie ends on this beautiful shot of Natalia being embraced. She's in Vasile's arms, and they're embracing each other, and they're both smiling at each other. What does that mean? Did Natalia die? Did she kill herself, and she's now reunited with Vasile in heaven, or in the afterlife, or in what is it? Limbo? I don't know. I wasn't raised Christian. We don't know. And that, my friends, is Earth. That is how it ends. So what does it all mean? What does all of this mean? I thought a lot about this, and imagery is a huge part of this movie. Again, the nature part of it, the shots of the trees and the plants and everything. It's a huge part. And I think what Dovzhenko was trying to say is that, chaos will subside because nature, there's always going to be nature. Nature is always going to be there. If an apple falls from a tree, a new apple is going to grow, If a tree falls down, or no, not a tree. No, that's a bad example. If a flower falls off or something, or flowers get swept away in a tornado, what do? You go and you put new flowers in, so you rebuild. I think that's kind of a big metaphor. I think that the whole purpose of this is that this village eventually will rebuild itself in a way. I think that's really what Dovzhenko was going for, and that's why he really emphasizes the shots of nature, and what's the word? What's the word I'm thinking of? Hold on just a sec. Perpetual. That's the word I was thinking of. It was in the back of my head. I try to use that word more, but I can't. Life is perpetual, Nature is perpetual. And I think no matter what chaos erupts in this village, no matter what collectivization does to these people, they go on, And I think that's what's really special about Earth. I think even just the fact that Dovzhenko called the movie Earth, he didn't call the movie, Revenge of the Peasants or anything like that. It's Earth, There's a real striking similarity between the people in this movie and Earth. Not to mention the fact that I can see why film historians love this movie so much. It's a brilliant look at peasant life. It is. I mean, you forget that these are actors. You forget that you realize, you believe that this is an actual farm. What you're witnessing is an actual farm with peasants, and they're all losing their minds over this idea of sending all of their food and their money away to this dickhead, running the Soviet Union. You feel it. I mean, again, it's over dramatic. There's one scene in the beginning where this guy's like, I'm not giving anything away. If I have to support collectivization, I'm going to kill my horse. And he goes to his horse with this axe and he's going to kill the horse. And then his wife is like, no. But it's a really special movie. And, look, this is what I love about movies. Sometimes when you watch a movie, you don't get it. And this is why I think I've always loved movies so much. When you don't understand a movie, when you investigate, that's not the right word. When you read about it and you research it, you come to understand what it's really all about. And just, this past half hour, I love Earth now so much more than I originally did, now that I've said it all out loud, And I think I did a good job. I actually did not look at my notes that much. I wonder if I forgot anything. Yeah, okay. Oh, I should not have done that. I have too many things up on my computer. My challah recipe just came up. Oh, man. Earth, do I recommend it? Yes. Do I recommend that you read up a little bit about it before you watch it? Yes, it's recommended. Do I recommend that you see movies in the movie theater where they should be seen, where they should always be seen? Yes. I'll fight with you on this, baby. I will. Not physically, though. I'll play Uno. And if I win, then I'm right. Yeah, I'm pretty good at Uno. Nah, not really. Yeah. Special movie. It's a very special movie, and it's a very, I gotta say it again, I gotta use that word, poetic. This is film poetry at its finest, at its core, and I'm very pleased to have seen it. I'm very pleased to read more about this director, Dovzhenko. Alexander Dovzhenko, also just because Dovzhenko, that's such a fun word to say. Yeah. The history behind these movies, the history depicted in the movies, even if you don't know it, yeah, it can be, mind-boggling, it can be frustrating. But when you read more about it, that's what makes the experience of watching a movie all the more incredible. So, check it out, Earth. Earth is nowhere to be streamed. I mean, it is. It's on YouTube, which it should not be. There's actually, when I tried finding it, there were a whole bunch of versions on YouTube. Some of them have subtitles, some of them have different scores. I watched the original one with, closed captions and the original music that they played. Definitely, call your senators and encourage them to screen Earth at your local movie theater, please. Because this is a movie that deserves to be seen on the big screen. Yeah. Good episode, you guys. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. Well, if you're listening and you're not subscribed, subscribe! Do it already. Come on. I'm not that annoying. Rate what you think about it. Follow me on Instagram if you'd like. You can follow this on Instagram. I think it's just called I'm Reviewing Here Podcast. I'm Reviewing Here Podcast. On Instagram. You can also follow me on Instagram and TikTok if you want. I'm very annoying and weird. I love to cook. I love to dance. I love to take pictures of my dog niece. And yeah, you can follow me. It's oh god, I can't believe I'm saying this. My handle is Mabusi. Okay? But it's not pronounced that way. It's supposed to be pronounced Mabussi, like Agassi, like Andre Agassi, the very famous tennis player, okay? That's how you pronounce it. It's not Bussy, it's Mabussi, okay? Yeah, follow me if you want to, though. I'm weird, and if you unfollow me, I understand, because my likes have reduced in tremendous size over these last couple of weeks, probably from all the goddamn vegan food I keep posting, but it's fun. I will see you in 2 days. No, It's Friday. I'll see you in 3 days for the next episode. Have a good weekend, everybody. Bye-bye. Or as they say in Russian, placebo? No, that means cheers. Whatever. Bye-bye.